How you doing? Mr. DJ here, resuming the countdown on my fantasy playlist at number 17, up 10 from number 27 the previous week. Definitely a 90s alternative band. Cake with the Distance, a brilliant video to this record. I believe most of it was filmed in San Francisco, up in Northern California. Indeed, the group Cake formed in Sacramento from California, formed in 1991. The first single was absolutely genius. It was Rock and Roll Lifestyle in 1995. John McCrae just had this edge in his voice, sometimes a sarcastic, almost a cynical edge in his voice that lent Cake's records a certain amount of edge, I guess is what you can call it. And this record, The Distance, was written by their guitar player, Greg Brown. Greg Brown was on a couple of albums by Cake. Cake was signed to the Capricorn record label. I forgot the year, 1994, 1995. Capricorn was pretty interesting. They started out as a Southern label back in the 70s. Some of the flagship artists off the label back in the 70s, the Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker Band, Dobie Gray was on that label, and Elvin Bishop also on the Capricorn record label. Then Capricorn record label, they folded, but they regenerated, rose like the phoenix in the 1990s, and partnership with Warner Brothers. Although later on the distribution for Capricorn was taken over by Polygram Records. Widespread Panic was a big signing. Their first big signing in the 90s was Widespread Panic, and they're from Athens, Georgia. 311, remember 311? They signed. They were at Capricorn, and so was Cake. Cake's first, I guess their big album, one of their first big albums was Fashion Nugget. It might have been their debut album. Came out in 1996. I Will Survive. They covered Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive on that album. And The Distance was probably one of their biggest hits. I Will Survive and The Distance was the hit off the album. And then they came out with Prolonging the Magic in 1998. They had probably their biggest hit, Never There. That was in 1998, 1999. Sheep Go to Heaven was another fantastic cut by them. Summer 2001, they came up with this brilliant record, a brilliant video to go along with it. It was Short Skirt, Long Jacket, I believe was the name of it back in 2001. Well, anyway, this song, The Distance, as far as I know, it didn't chart on Billboard's Hot 100. It certainly was not played on the FM Top 40 stations. It was played on MTV, though, in their hot rotation, at least late at night when I was watching it back in 1996. But the song did go to number 22 in Britain. How about that? Hey, hooray for the Brits, man, for putting this brilliant record up into the top 40 overseas. Well, here's Cake at number 17 on my fantasy playlist with The Distance. Fantasy playlist of October 26, 1996.